It's an age-old rivalry, isn't it? Today we're talking about a player who is still, at the time of recording this audio, an unsigned free agent. And we're going over some of the teams that have been linked to him, and how there could be some sort of a bidding war between two original six rivals. Today we're heading over and talking about Max Pacioretty, formerly of the Washington Capitals, and of course a whole bunch of other teams. So, before we dive into the scoops and the analysis of it all, let's go out there and just talk about the player at hand first. Pacioretty is 35 years old, 6'2", 216, left-handed left-wing guy. And this previous season playing for the Capitals, he had 23 points in 47 games played. Not as good as Pacioretty once was. He was a multi-time 60-point guy with the Canadiens, and then with the Vegas Golden Knights, he also produced a good amount of points too, was over a point per game in 2020-2021, and was always a pretty solid option for Vegas until the injury bug slowed him down, and he went from 37 points in 39 games to 3 points in 5 games the year after with Carolina. That still isn't a bad point production metric, it's just, hey, he only played 5 games, right? So Pacioretty kind of went through a little bit of a slump with his health. He wasn't able to play as much, and as a result, even this previous season, he only had 47 games played and was half a point a game in that stint. While it is, understandable to see why teams wouldn't necessarily be jumping at the gun to sign Pacioretty, we've reached a point in the offseason now where, hey, it's September, teams are still trying to bolster up their rosters, and a guy like Pacioretty would be probably able to do that for cheap. So let's go out there and talk about some of the teams that have been linked to him, starting out with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Nick Alberga went out there and tweeted this out earlier. When was this? On the 28th? Or the 29th, excuse me. So, 3 days ago, I think. Break from vacation. Sources confirmed the Toronto Maple Leafs are among the teams firmly in the mix to sign veteran UFA forward Max Pacioretty. And then a whole bunch of replies go out there and talk about the ideas of, okay, Nick Robertson, he's going to get traded or he's going to get moved. It's going to open up a roster spot for a guy like Max Pacioretty. Just send out some of the younger guys, bring in one of the older guys. Pacioretty is 35, so he certainly is not the youngest of the bunch. And then you had yourselves another tweet here. David Pagnotta said, hey, I'm hearing the same regarding the Toronto Maple Leafs and Max Pacioretty. This would also be a standard player contract, not a PTO, if they agree to terms. So, if anybody was going out there and wishing that Max Pacioretty got job security for next year, it seems like that would be the case here. It's not a PTO situation, it's not a tryout, it would be just a normal contract, which I think speaks volumes to not just the skill level, but the reputation level that Max Pacioretty has achieved in the NHL. I mean, it was just 2 seasons ago that he was a point-per-game guy, and a pretty meaningful one at that, so I don't think NHL GMs are going to let the past 2 years affect too negatively how it is that Pacioretty could negotiate and get his contract done heading into 2024-2025. The Toronto Maple Leafs seem to be willing to pay this guy regular money and give him a regular spot on the team, assuming they, find a way to get Nick Robertson off of the team too. Now, that's all fine and dandy, and we had ourselves our analysis. This is what Josh Erickson wrote about on ProHockeyRumors.com. He spoke all about the long list of what Pacioretty had done and what he has been in the NHL since being acquired by the Canadiens back in the first round in 2007. He was a money in the bank during his prime in Montreal. His decent rebound in Washington was enough to generate interest in his services at the trade deadline, but he had no trade clause in his pact with the Capitals that he opted not to waive. The Rangers were one of the teams linked to him at the time, but it's unclear if they're one of the teams competing with Toronto to land him now. With Joni Hakanpää expected not to sign and RFA forward Nick Robertson still hoping to have his signing rights traded, the Leafs confidently have $1.275 million in projected cap space with a roster size of 21 per Puckpedia. That should be enough to land Pacioretty, who's eligible to structure his contract with performance bonuses to keep his initial cap hit low as a UFA over 35 years old. Pacioretty could be a direct replacement for Robertson, who mainly operated as Toronto's third-line left winger when in the lineup alongside of Domi and Calle Jarnkrok. So that seems to be one of the options here for Max Pacioretty, but we do have ourselves another option for this guy, courtesy of Arthur Staple on The Athletic. Players still available in the 2024 free agency class and which teams are potential good fits. This was published by Staple also on August 29th. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and read this Athletic article, but because The Athletic is paid for material, we're not going to go out there and read this. Instead, we are going back on the pro hockey rumors because this piece by Brian LaRose goes out there and talks about how the Detroit Red Wings have also shown interest in Max Pacioretty. Take a look at what is written out here. Evidently, the Toronto Maple Leafs are not the only Atlantic Division squad that has some interest in the veteran, as Arthur Staple of The Athletic adds that the Red Wings are believed to be interested in adding Pacioretty as well. Then there's an entire, cut and paste kind of thing. He was good, he was there, he was in Washington, he was in Carolina, etc., etc. The Red Wings have already been active up front with their free agent moves this summer. They re-signed wingers Patty Kane and Christian Fischer, added wingers Tarasenko and Mott, and also inked Austin Watson to a PTO. Considering they still have to re-sign Raymond and Berggren and Seider, it's hard to see a viable fit for Pacioretty. While the veteran is believed to have interest from multiple teams, that shouldn't be enough leverage to land much more than league minimum of $775,000 at this point of free agency, so this could be a case of the Red Wings viewing Pacioretty as a low-cost depth option over someone worthy more of a full-time spot. In that scenario, adding him could make some sense, but until they finalize contracts with their 3 remaining RFAs to get a better sense of what they have to work with financially, it would be a little surprising to see the Wings commit any sort of guaranteed contract to Pacioretty or any free agent. So, it's interesting, right? Is it likely? I don't know. Arthur Staple certainly is no nobody in the hockey world, so I definitely will trust that he has sources verifying to him information like this. It also is interesting to me because, Detroit is evolved. Steve Yzerman tends to not really show his cards at any point, so something like this, hearing, okay, yeah, the Red Wings are one of the teams involved here in signing Max Pacioretty, it's going to have to be leaked out either from the agency or from Pacioretty himself or somebody close to the situation, but not on the Detroit side of things. That makes things a lot more intriguing when you discuss contract opportunities. And honestly, when you think about the Red Wings and the Leafs kind of trying to one-up each other, trying to sign Max Pacioretty over the other team, it does become a lot interesting to acknowledge the bidding war that we have at hand here. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your opinions on how Max Pacioretty is going to be able to play in 2024-2025? How well do you think he had performed in this previous season? If you're a Capitals fan, what are your thoughts on the way Pacioretty suited up for you guys? He is 35, so he's certainly not young anymore. He'll be 36 by the time November 20th rolls around. So, yeah, he's certainly in the latter half of his career, but still was very effective just as far back as 2 seasons ago. How was he in Washington, and how well do you think he's going to play either with Detroit or Toronto in 2024-2025? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.